Hey there, internet fans. Ryan Perry here with Digital Mastermind Academy. And I have my co-partner, Sarah Giametti, who's visiting. Maybe we should tell people what you got going on, because I think it's pretty exciting why you're down in Southern California right now.
Well, right now I'm at my mom's house. So I'm visiting my mom for the evening since I figured passing through I should be a good daughter and say hi. But I'm headed to a conference, a two-day conference in San Diego that Frank Kern is putting on for his inner circle. And it's all about lead generation and putting campaigns together and driving traffic to online programs that you may be selling.
Yeah, which, for small business owners, if you can create a funnel and put those people into the funnel and guarantee X number of dollars coming out the bottom, it is a beautiful, beautiful way of actually marketing. And that's why years ago, people were saying that SEO was dead, because why invest in SEO efforts if you can just put $100 in the top of a funnel and you know 1,000's coming out? So really looking forward to hearing and learning more about what you learned. And it's going to be kind of cool being in the same room as Frank Kern.
It will be. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I'm not sure how big this conference will be because it's specifically only his inner circle people. We can't even bring a guest. And routinely on calls, there's about 200 to 300 people, but I know there's more than that in the program. So it'll be interesting to see how many show up to the conference and be nice to be around people who are putting together programs like that and get some ideas and inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. And what's really cool about a lot of these programs is they plug right into your social media campaigns, specifically doing Facebook ads, which we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about it towards the end of this broadcast. And let's go ahead and jump into today's broadcast. And specifically, we're going to be talking about implementation and promotion. So we've already gone over branding, making sure you've got all the systems in place, everything's branded correctly. Where do you go and get content? Now it's a matter of, okay, how do I, on a weekly basis, day to day, I'm in my business, how do you go about marketing your brand using social media?
Right. And so one of the things you want to think about is, before you even start, having a goal in place, making sure you know what you're trying to accomplish before you even try to accomplish it. Because if you don't have a goal, then you're just throwing things out there and hoping they're working, but you don't really know if they're working because you don't know what you're trying to accomplish. So it ends up being a vicious cycle. And what helps keep you then on your goal is creating a marketing calendar. We gave you one. There's the PDF will have a link to one to download. You can find there's a plethora of them online. Find one that works for you and utilize the calendar. Find and create content. Put it all in the calendar in advance. So that way you know what you're doing for the next week, month, 2 months, and it makes it a lot easier for you to stay on time. And with having that calendar pre-filled out, then you can calendar your time on your own calendar to actually do the implementation, but it should be pretty fast because you've already done the front work. And then once you're getting into it, we'll go over like checking your analytics, making sure, seeing what works, what doesn't, and where you might need to tweak that content calendar. Just because you've pre-created it doesn't mean it's set in stone. You can still go in and adjust it. Things might come up. You want to change things. So, these are all the things that you'll want to have in place as you're going through creating your plan and getting ready to start your social media implementation.
Yeah, and then the last thing, I mean, those were only 5 steps, pretty simple. There's only 5 things you need to do in order to really put together a solid social media campaign. And then the 6th step is just rinse and repeat. I think that's part of the grind of social media, is constantly finding content and pushing new content out there, which kind of begs the question of, okay, what, how, where, who, what, huh? There are a lot of tools out there that help with social media. And we've talked about a few of these tools in the past. And in today's episode, we want to get a little bit more into, okay, the different types of tools that both Sarah and I use. And there's some tools that Sarah uses and I don't, and vice versa. But we want to show you the tools that we use day to day. This is like real life stuff. We're not, just saying, hey, do this, do this. We're going to actually show you the tools, go through how to use the tools so you can really see how to implement this into your business strategy.
Right. And these are not the only tools out there. These are just a handful of some of the tools that we use that we think will be the most beneficial for you, the small business owner, to easily implement and utilize in your business, because they're easy to set up, easy to get up and running, easy to use. But there are other ones. If there's another one that you see and you like and it works for you, then use it. You don't need to be set on the ones that we recommend. The trick really is, and the goal is for you to find something that actually works for you, that you will use, that will keep you on track.
Yeah, and if you're using a tool that we don't talk about, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below, because we're always looking for new tools. In fact, I just started using one called TwitWorks, which we're going to get into later. I want to say maybe 3 months ago. It's a relatively new tool. Not a lot of people know about it. And I've been really happy with it because it solves one of the issues that I have, and it has to do with automation. And so let's actually talk about this dirty word in social media called automation. And while automation can be a dirty word when it's not used correctly, the reality is, especially for small business owners, you need to be efficient with your time. The number one killer, I think, is that people go, oh, I have all these grand ideas of what I want to do. Then they realize the amount of time and energy it takes, and it becomes overwhelming, and they stop doing it. So we would like to see you do something, include some automation tastefully, and actually generate regular content. So some of the tools that we're going to actually talk about is going to be Post Planner, Hootsuite, Bundle Post, Buffer, or I should say some of the tools that you can use that are low cost are Post Planner, Hootsuite, Bundle Post, Buffer, later TwitWorks. The ones that have the asterisk marks next to them are the ones that we're actually going to talk about.
Right, and Bundle Post is actually on the more expensive side, and so unless you're managing multiple accounts, that probably is not a good option for you. It does have some really cool features and functionality, but it's fairly expensive if you're only managing one business's accounts. I use it, but I'm an agency. I've got multiple clients that I have in there that I'm utilizing it for, so it makes it cost effective for me. The alternate to that, because Bundle Post and, as you'll see, Post Planner help you find content. So they're content curation programs, and Bundle Post is Post Planner is definitely the more cost-effective option for a small business who's just managing their own accounts.
Yeah, and the one caveat to this is, since we are targeting small business owners, we wanted to let you know of the tools that are available, some of the common ones, and then the ones that we're actually showcasing are actually going to be more low cost, affordable for a small business owner who's only responsible for their brand or their business. And let's go ahead and jump into the very first one, which is going to be Post Planner. This is a great tool to aggregate, to actually find content and schedule content for Twitter and Facebook. It starts out at $9 a month. There are other programs. The key takeaway on Post Planner is that it's only good for Twitter and Facebook. So if you're looking for other sources, like Hootsuite does a variety of social media accounts, Post Planner does not. And I'm going to kind of just go through and walk you through how to use Post Planner. So this is inside my account, and on the left-hand side are 3 different options. We have the ability to find, plan, and post. Under Find, they have a lot of different folders here, and all of these folders I actually created. You can see it's under My Content, so I've created an individual folder for social media, and I've put different feeds into this folder. It could be a Twitter feed, an RSS feed, it could be a Facebook feed. They make it very simple. All you have to do is go up into the search bar and do a search. It's really, really nice, and you can add as many folders as you'd like. And when you click on one of these, such as this is my social media folder is highlighted right now, everything that's in this social media folder, which it's not open on this screenshot, but if it was open, there's like 20 different social media feeds that are going into it. All of that content shows up right here. And it's not just articles, they also have photo options. So if I were to click on this button, it would give me a list of options. The other cool thing and why I really like Post Planner is they have this star system here. And what this star system is how often this content has actually been shared. Because one of the hard parts for small business owners is actually find relevant content. And the more stars means that it's been shared, which should indicate that this is, people are interested in this content. And the other thing I like about it is I can do just new content from the past week, the past month, or all content. And so it gives me a lot of variety as far as aggregating and finding really good content that I can post. Once I actually find something, all I need to do is click on the image, and it opens up a description. This is all automatic. So even though I'm manually clicking, the image gets placed in here immediately. The text and link, all of this gets set up and it gets sent out. I have 3 options. I can either share this as my next one because everything's on a calendar, and I can share 10 items a day. I can share 20 items a day, depending on the calendar. I'll show you that in just a moment. I can share it now. So if I immediately want to send it out, I'll click that, or I can actually schedule this. And that's typically what I do is I click schedule post, and it will go out on the next, whenever the next cycle of posts that go out. Now, the other thing I will do, whoops, I didn't want to do that. The other thing I do, though, is I typically will not use this long URL. I'll go into Bitly, and I'll copy this in, and I'll create a Bitly link, one, to shorten this up, especially for Twitter. And I should caveat, 99.9% of the time, I use Post Planner strictly for Twitter. So I want to shorten that URL up, and I want a trackable link. So this is the next option. On the left-hand side is the actual calendar. You can put multiple accounts in here. May they be Facebook accounts or Twitter accounts, depending on which plan you buy into. You have more and more accounts available. And this is what I was talking when I said you can actually calendar content. Right now I have content scheduled to go out at 7, 8:30, 9:43, blah, 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 all the way until 8:30 in the evening. And once you actually start posting content, then it goes into this queue here called post, and I can actually see when the next content's going out. Next one's going to go out at 12:33, then 1:16, 2:31, and I can go back in here if I wanted to and actually edit the content. This, for me, Post Planner for me is really simple. I love the software because of how it aggregates content, allows me to publish content. And so what I like to do is while I'm eating breakfast is I'm going through Post Planner and I'm checking content. I'm looking what's going on, what's new in my industry that I want to share with my audience on Twitter. And it makes it super, super simple. And I can actually fill up a queue of 15 to 20 posts within 10 to 15 minutes. My biggest problem is I get distracted and I start reading the articles and I'm like, oh, taking notes and going, this is pretty cool. So it's also a great way of keeping me informed on what's going on in the industry.
And where tools like this are really beneficial for small business owners really is Twitter, because you have to have such a high volume on Twitter because it moves so fast that these tools that allow you to curate a big amount of content in a short amount of time will help you keep to that schedule. And you can incorporate your own content in there, so your own content is being shared as well, because you want to make sure your own stuff that you're creating, videos, blogs, whatever it is mixed in with that stuff. But this is a great way to have filler, useful and reliable and good filler content, so you're putting out good content in the volume and the quantity and quality that you need to be doing. And so they are
exactly. And because you can create multiple folders within Post Planner, you can actually create a folder just for your business and drop your RSS feed in there. And that way you can go ahead, calendar content out, and then go, oh, okay, this is the content that I want to pull out, stick it in there. And once you get to a certain audience size, that star system will show up on your content also. So it's another indicator of, okay, what's working well. And when you're creating evergreen content, it's always nice to post content multiple times that people find useful and helpful, and that they share.
Right. And so when it comes to Facebook, one of the recommendations I make to small business owners is to not use third-party scheduling for scheduling content in Facebook, because you normally your audience is not large enough to offset the throttling that Facebook might do for that third-party post. However, you can still use Post Planner to find quality content to use on Facebook. It's just an extra step where you click through whatever the content is. So if it's an article you really like, you click through and get the link from there and then manually go post it into Facebook. So it's just an extra step, but you can still utilize it to find and curate quality content to use in your Facebook page. And the advantage is on Facebook, you don't need the volume that you need on Twitter. And so you're looking at one maximum, usually about one a day on Facebook. You don't want to overshare unless something's going on. A couple a day are fine, but you definitely don't want to overpost on Facebook, because then you'll just lose followers.
Yeah, and the great thing is, since I'm doing this in the morning as I'm doing my breakfast routine, is that I'm actually finding content. So, I love the fact that you brought this up, is that even though I'm not going to use Post Planner to actually post onto Facebook, I am going to, I've got 15 to 20 different pieces of content that I'm sharing on Twitter. I can pull a real gem out of there each day and post that onto Facebook directly through Facebook. And that was, for me, Post Planner, the number one thing that attracted me to it was having an aggregate feed where I could post content at the same time. That's what I love about it. It's one-stop shopping. Boom, I'm in and I'm out. The other tool that I've started using is going to be TwitWorks. And TwitWorks has a number of different features that are really unique to this software. There may be other software out there that's doing it. One of the things that I like is that, again, for a small business owner, it's very affordable. You might as well, if you're going to be active on Twitter, you might as well just get the lifetime at $197. Why pay $97 a year when you can get the agency account for $197? And I forget how many accounts you're allowed to add. I want to say it's unlimited. So it's very user friendly for the end user. The other thing that the TwitWorks tool does is it will follow users. It will unfollow people that have unfollowed you, and it will automatically post content. And once you set it up, you just let it run. So it doesn't require ongoing daily maintenance. With that said, you want to make sure that the content that you're pushing into TwitWorks, the RSS feeds, which I'll show you how to do later, as you're pushing it in, that you're actually getting quality content on the back side. So even though it is pure automation, you still want to monitor it because it is part of your brand. The other really neat thing about this is it will automatically follow people based on specific keywords. So when you find people that are using words like video marketing, in this case real estate, because I want to get in front of people that are selling real estate, dentists, entrepreneurs, all of those people, we can actually dictate to the software who I want to follow. And that helps really focus your audience of followers towards the being very specific. We can really niche it down, which is really nice. And then the other thing you can do is that if there are thought leaders in your industry, as an example, I have Frank Kearns in here, Grant Cardone. I also have some local Twitter accounts, North Bay News, the Santa Rosa Symphony. Based on the audience that I want to attract, I can actually go after and follow their followers. So the software will go out, and as an example, it'll look at Frank Kearns' followers, and it'll start following those people because it's a like industry. Very, very powerful tool when used correctly. The other thing that's really nice about it is it will also automate content for you. And what you can do is you can put in a playlist from YouTube, you can put a YouTube channel in, an RSS feed, or a custom URL. When you put this feed into TwitWorks, you can never post. So if you want to put it on pause, you can occasionally post regularly, post a lot, or just open the floodgates. And so this RSS feed right here, based on an algorithm on the software, it will automatically post content from that feed for you on a regular basis. So it's another way of creating content or getting content out there on Twitter when you need to be posting 15 to 30 times a day. So for me, the way I use the two pieces of software is TwitWorks is kind of my base foundation. It makes sure that I get content out on a regular basis. And then Post Planner is, okay, that's me picking out the gems and the nuggets of content that I know I really want people to see. And then you put those two together and you end up with a lot of content going out of Twitter without a lot of work. It's really kind of a cool plan.
Yeah, and you want to make sure before you jump onto the Twitter bandwagon that you've got a handle on how much content, because we do recommend 10 to 30 times a day, especially as your following grows, because people it moves so fast. You'd be really surprised if you sit there. If you're not a huge Twitter user, you might be shocked at how fast it's moving and how much content's being put out there. And so you want to have more opportunity to be in front of people. You want to make sure you're utilizing hashtags. You want to make sure as you put this plan together that you can do it efficiently and consistently on a daily basis, because you really do need to be daily on Twitter, and you'll have to start with 5 to 10 a day. But these tools are definitely a way for you to do it, like Ryan said, with not a lot of effort, and to get it done, not even worry about the schedule. You set up the schedule one time, and then you just throw content into it, and it automatically moves it along the path of the schedule for you, so you don't even have to worry about that part.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really nice about it is there are days such as Saturday and Sunday that I wasn't really posting on a regular basis. And so by having TwitWorks kind of fill in that content, so at least I'm creating visibility, even though I don't have specific control over the content, it allows me to have a bigger presence on Twitter. And it's also growing my audience at the same time. So that's and not just an audience, but a very specific audience based on the keywords that I selected. So very, very powerful. The next tool is going to be a tool that I know nothing about because I don't use it. However, Sarah does, and that is Later.
So I use Later. I primarily use it for Instagram. You can use it for Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm going to talk about it for Instagram here. Because it's basically the same for Twitter and Facebook. I don't recommend third-party posting for Facebook. It can start at free. What's really cool about it is, so with Instagram, you cannot schedule to post automatically to Instagram. It violates their terms of service. So where it's a workaround with Later is it pushes it to your mobile device, and you're manually hitting, on your phone, you're manually hitting the post button. And so you're not in violation. All you're doing Later is keeping you on schedule and helping you post at the right time on Instagram, but you're still manually posting each post. So you're not in violation of Instagram's terms of service. And so this is the Later dashboard. And you can see on the left is where the pictures that we may or may not, we've uploaded, but we didn't use them. And so you can just drag and drop pictures onto this screen, and it just adds into that library. And so that way you'll have pictures there to pick from. And you'll see on the kind of the right side in the calendar part of it, the grayed out areas were pictures that were scheduled for those times of day. And so you get a quick screenshot of what's scheduled when, so you know where you need to put your next post. If we go to the next screen, I start walking through creating a post. So I pulled a picture from the library, and the picture pops up. And you click the blue button and create post. and it takes you to this screen. And one of the best things about this is on the right hand side, you can have saved captions. And because hashtags are so powerful on Instagram, this is a great way. As you see, I've got them named for myself, my clients, and I have different sets of hashtags based on what I'm trying to do. And so I can, on the left hand side, I write the post caption and I write what I want to have in there, but then I can just one click button and throw the extra hashtags in that I want to use for that post. And so it's an easy way to have it saved in the program of what I want to use, and I can still edit it once I add them to the live post. I can still add and remove hashtags from there, but this way I don't have to type them every time or go find another document and copy and paste in. And then just right there in the middle bottom, you see I'm scheduling it out for a certain day and time. And so, and this will tell you have to have the app on your mobile device as well. And it's easy to set that up and make the connection. And so then it pushes to the mobile device, which I think is on the next screen. And so it pops up on my phone. The one on the left is the first thing I see, and you click the open in Instagram at the bottom. And so this is where it becomes quote unquote manual. Like I've already set it up with all the content. I don't have to type anything now. It takes me 5 seconds to post to Instagram, because then it goes to the middle screen and it just wants you to make sure you're logged into the right account, because sometimes, like, I have multiple accounts on my Instagram. You can have up to 5, you can be logged into up to 5 accounts at a time. And so you may have your personal and your business one. And so you just want to make sure you're logged into the correct account on Instagram. And once you know you are, you can click OK, and then it goes to the far right screen, and you see down at the bottom, it's got the Instagram icon, and you click that, and it actually launches the Instagram app on your phone. And so now you're in Instagram, the one on the left hand side. This is actually an Instagram, so it's pushed the picture over for you. It puts the content on your clipboard, and so then you go, on the left hand picture, the arrow above the picture, you click the blue arrow, and it takes you to the next screen where you want to put the content of the post, and you just hold down your finger and paste the content, and there's the whole post that you want to do, and then you just hit share, the blue share button in the upper right hand corner, and you're done. It's 5 seconds because you pre-set it up. And so this is for something that's free, that makes it automated for you to do Instagram. You can schedule out the whole month and just forget about it until it pushes to your phone and post it. And Hootsuite also does the same thing, and it works through kind of the same way. So if you decide, we're not going to walk through Hootsuite, but you can do Hootsuite also for scheduling content. For Twitter, you can do Twitter. You can do everything through Hootsuite. You can do Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, technically Facebook. And if you just can't manually put it in Facebook and you have to use a third party, that's fine. And Hootsuite does all of them, including Instagram, and it operates the same as Later. And so those are 2 options for business owners. And I think I paid like $10 a month for Hootsuite for all my clients to be in it. So it's a fairly unaffordable. It's a fairly affordable program that you can use for scheduling, but its content curation is not that great. So you miss out on that versus something like Post Planner. Instagram is all pictures. So this tool is great, makes it easy, but before you decide to do an Instagram strategy, you've got to make sure that you've got the bandwidth to find, or you're not really finding pictures unless you're going to give credit to people. You're going to be having to create a lot of pictures, whether you take the pictures or you're creating quotes on a stock photography that looks pretty. You want to make sure you got the bandwidth to do pictures and videos, around every other day, every 2 to 3 days, to really have a good and effective strategy there.
Yeah, and the great thing is all of this stuff ties into a calendar. So if you're using Post Planner as an example, it has a calendar in there of how many times are you going to post, and you just need to fill that calendar up. So that's part of your marketing goal that day for social media. For Twitter, as an example, is I need to fill this up X number of times. For me, my goal is 15. I want to get 15 slots in there, and my Twitter for the day is done. Now I could go on, because with Post Planner, if I do 20, it's just going to roll over to the next day, and it'll just keep on going and going. So I could do a full week's worth of content if I wanted to. And then again, I use TwitWorks as kind of that filler. It's just there, making sure that content's going out on a regular basis. It's filling the gaps, making sure that I get constant visibility on Twitter. And I love the fact that with what was it, Later? With Later, again, it's all tied into a calendar. Yes, there's some mobile because of restrictions on how you can actually use automation on the platform, but it'll automatically send it to you, remind you. And again, it's all calendar based. And if you go back to one of the very first slides, that was having a marketing calendar and knowing what type of content that you're going to post. Now, part of that marketing calendar, for you guys that are scratching your head going, well, geez, you're just kind of randomly throwing content out there on Twitter, it's going to be really hard for you to actually schedule. And I think it's too much work to schedule all 20 posts ahead of time as far as determining what's going to go out on your marketing calendar. What you want to pay attention to when it comes to your marketing calendar is the content that you want to post about your brand on Twitter. Typically, I like to put about 2 pieces of content out, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The rest of the content that goes out on Twitter, though, is all everybody else's content. It's all about giving and sharing versus just me promoting.
Right. And to give you an idea of a content calendar, I just did one for a client for their Facebook and Instagram. And I did a 3-month calendar where I was mapping out. And the advantage of mapping out too is, especially with Facebook, is you can make sure you're covering the variety. Pictures, video, links, text. You can make sure, and you're not accidentally doing 3 pictures in a row and 3 links in a row. You're able to mix it up. But I was able to do a 3-month content strategy for both Facebook and Instagram for a client, posting every other day. And it took me about 2, maybe 3 hours. And now I'm essentially done for 3 months. All we have to do is schedule the content out and create it. But I don't have to do any more planning for them for another 3 months because it's all wrapped out for me. So, even if you just did 1 month, it'll take you maybe an hour, and maybe you get in the flow of it and you just keep going and you keep going. And as you go through your daily life, if you come across a piece of content that would be really great for you, you can just add it into the calendar, and you can always move things around. So it's not super overwhelming once you get going with it, and you can just find a calendar that works for you and have it mapped out so that it keeps you on schedule and it keeps you efficient.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just, the reality is you have to get into the grind of it. You got to get into the flow of it. And as you do, things get easier and easier. That's why we always talk about layers. Start simple. If Sarah always says, if you're not sure which social media platform to start on, Facebook is kind of the generic go-to because everybody's there. And become a master at that. Get really good at creating content, finding content, posting on a regular basis, checking your analytics, tweaking your content for your audience. Once you get that nailed down, then move on to the next platform that's relevant for your business. So kind of wrapping everything up from today's is going to be the actual social media management plan, which starts with know what your goals are. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we were talking about ROI and social media. And I think it's important to kind of talk about, again, is that a lot of times with social media, it can just be about brand awareness, and that's it. And so as far as understanding your goal, a goal might be, I want to get a like on this post. If you're just starting out, I want to get 5 likes on this post. I want to get a share, 5 shares. Something very simple like that is a goal. It doesn't always have to be a financial goal.
Right. And you want to, and as Ryan mentioned, it could just be brand recognition. You're a local business, you don't have a lot of brand recognition, and so you're utilizing social media just to get your name out there. It can eventually turn into sales, but your first goal might just be get more people to learn about me and learn about my business. And so that your strategy could just be all about education and teaching people about your industry, your business, where you're at, get them to recognize your logo, get it in local engagement, start getting people to follow your page. So it doesn't have to be this massive, like, I'm going to suddenly get $1,000 in sales in 1 week, out of nothing. It's not reality. And so just, start with small, measurable, reasonable goals. And one of it might just be getting in the habit of posting on a regular basis. Might be your first goal, is to actually do it, and then work on some other more attainable goals that center around your audience.
Yeah. Whoops, I hit the wrong button here. Let's go back to the screen share. And so know your goals. Use your calendar. Calendar is going to be a very powerful tool. It's going to keep you focused. It's going to keep you on track. Use automation tools. They're going to help keep you on time and making sure that you're putting content out on a regular basis and keeping you from getting overwhelmed. You do not have to create all of your original content. It's okay to curate content, find content using systems like Post Planner or TwitWorks for Twitter. Remember again that Facebook has its own built-in scheduler, so it's recommend using that versus third-party software. And make sure you make sure you schedule content for the day. And depending on the platform, you also want to make sure that you're randomly rotating the type of content between text, pictures, links, or video. If you're always posting the same type of content, just pictures or just text, it starts looking vanilla-like. We as humans, we like variety. Reply to comments and messages quickly. When people say something, they're reaching out and connecting with you. That is a great opportunity to respond. Nobody likes to have a friend who doesn't, you send them a text and they never get back to you.
And this is one I really want to stress on this, and it is a negative side effect of our instant gratification, mobile, always connected society, is we all expect a very fast response if we reach out on social media, because we all assume that everybody is on social media all the time. We all have it on our cell phones. And obviously, I do know some people who are not on Facebook randomly. But for the most part, we're all on social media. And so we expect an instantaneous response. So you're not going to get stuff in the middle of the night, most likely. But especially on business hours, you need somebody who can monitor it and respond in, if you can respond within 5 minutes, fabulous. Under an hour you definitely want to be within an hour and as fast as you possibly can. And even if it's, so even if someone's saying thank you, respond and say you're welcome. Be grateful that they reached out to say thank you for whatever that you did for them. So you want to make sure that you are efficient and quick on this, and you don't ignore it and let it go by the wayside for a week. So make sure those notifications are turned on your phone, that you've got the appropriate apps installed for whatever platform you're on. And this is especially true in Facebook. Facebook tells your audience if you respond fast. And so, they tell them if you're 100% response time and within a certain amount of time. So it's especially true on Facebook that you really need to respond in a timely manner. But Twitter is also the same way. Twitter moves fast and people want responses fast. And so you'll have to take that into consideration when you're planning your strategy.
Yeah, definitely. And also on top of that is, since you are engaging and responding to people, try and keep the conversation flowing, open-end questions, asking for input, feedback, all of that type of stuff. Engages community. It's kind of like going to a social gathering and somebody asks you a question, you just say yes or no. Really hard to keep the conversation going when you do that. So engage with people. That's the whole thing. This is social media. It's supposed to be social. The other thing is real
quick on that, it's an extension of real life. So think of it like Ryan said, if you're at a party, like if you were out networking and talking to people, how would you interact with them? And you want to carry that over into your social media. So yeah, open-ended questions, encourage conversation, bring other people in if you can, and build that community and that engagement. And so if you go into it with the mindset that you're talking to humans as if they're standing in front of you, and talk to them that way, because you wouldn't just be like, if they came into your store to buy, you wouldn't just be like, yes. Or ignore them. You wouldn't ignore them.
Or you're that guy online that's like, buy now, buy now, buy now.
Right.
Buy now. Sell my stuff. The big ones right now seems to be sunglasses. It must be coming to summertime. Actually, today's a relatively nice day. But on Twitter, I'm getting a lot of people pushing sunglass sales right now. The other thing, because we want to get into the Twitter ads or excuse me, not Twitter ads, but Facebook ads. The last thing with the social media management plan is also reviewing your analytics. So go into Twitter, go into Facebook, look at the analytics, find out what people are responding to and not responding to, and then tweak your calendar accordingly so that your message gets sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper.
And the analytics even tells you, especially on Facebook, it tells you best day and time to post. So you can adjust when you're posting. I've got one client where almost everything I'm doing is at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning because that's when his audience is online. I've got another one where they're like 3, 4, 5 p.m. So you've got to look at those numbers and see not only what's working, but what time of day you're posting as part of your analytics. So, because nothing you even with a calendar, it's not set in stone. You can adjust the timing, the tone, the message, and the analytics will tell you what needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, perfect. All right, let's move on to Facebook advertising, because part of promotion can be paid advertising, and Facebook still has one of the most cost-effective ad platforms that's out there right now.
It does. And one of the biggest benefits of Facebook's ad platform is the data. It's some of the cleanest data on the planet because we have all spent the last 8, 9, whatever years willingly, freely telling Facebook all about our lives and everything we like and don't like. And so they've harnessed all of this data that we've freely given them, and it's made it an extremely effective platform to advertise on because you can be very laser specific on who you're targeting on there and not miss target. I mean, how often have you seen ads that are completely irrelevant to you? Those people are not doing ads properly. However, how often have you seen ads that are pretty relevant to you? There's something you're interested in or something that you like. So you can be very specific. Like you can target within 10 miles of your city, women who are 35 to 55 who make over $100,000 a year who are moms. You can be even more specific than that. But it's also very affordable. You can boost a post for $5 and expand your reach. So it's it's flexible. You don't have to spend X amount of dollars every single month. You can pick and choose. I'm going to spend $5 here, $20 there, as you get your feet wet with it. There are the downside of Facebook now. Their advertising. It's a plus and a minus. It's gotten a lot more complex, so you have a lot more options, which is great, but it also can be very overwhelming for a small business owner. So I'm just going to cover 2 different options, because if you log into it, you'll see there's 11 different marketing objectives, and then you go into 5 different placement options, and then you have 6 different ad formats. So I'm just going to cover a couple that are a great place for you to get started. There's also a link on this PDF for the Facebook ad guide if you want a lot more in-depth information and really want to learn about how to be effective on it. It's a really good guide to teach you all the differences of all the different options that they offer.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say is, because I've done pay-per-click ads through Google, which is really complicated, Facebook is getting that way. What was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, they made some changes to the ads manager, and it's getting more and more complex. And if this is one of the areas where you don't feel comfortable in, it definitely pays to talk to somebody who actually works in this environment on a regular basis, because it's getting more and more complicated. The benefit, like Sarah was saying, there's pros and cons. The benefit is, if you understand how to use the Facebook ad platform correctly, you can really target a specific audience, which means a better return on investment for you.
Right. And so the couple of things that I'm going to cover are the easiest way to get your feet wet that are not very complicated. Excuse me. And most small businesses should be able to manage these couple of ways. The first one is just the engagement. You want to get more people to see and engage with your post. And that could include comments, shares, likes, events, event responses, offer claims, things like that. And then the second one is the boosted post. And that's probably the single easiest way to start getting better exposure to your content and your page. Because you're on your page, and I'm sure you've seen it on the end of every post. After you push it live, it's got a little button to say boost posts, and we'll get into what it looks like. And so when you log in to the Facebook ad platform, this is the first screen you see. And so this is where you can see there's a whole bunch of options to choose from. And so most likely you're going to want to pick, under consideration, want to pick engagement, because this is where you'll be able to pick up people engaging with the content and liking your page. The awareness and reach, those are relatively new, and I've been playing with those, and I'm not loving them. I'm not loving them for a small local business, because it's getting exposure but no engagement. I'd rather send somebody over with the express purpose of getting engagement, because your money will go further and you'll get more out of it. And
Yeah,
so
one of the other things I've noticed, and I've dabbled in this a little bit, is that depending on where you go here, because each one of these is an option. This is a starting point. So, I want to do brand awareness, click here. Local awareness, click here. Reach, click here. Engagement, click here. Is when you click on one of these options here, that will define what you can and cannot do, which before this update, that wasn't the case. You were able to just go in, you could just tweak and modify everything. But I found it really frustrating, because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I go in, and now it's like, oh, I've got to find which block here will give me the tools to do what I want to do.
Right. And so some of these look like they could be kind of the same thing. The brand awareness and local awareness is similar but slightly different, but lead generation and conversions could kind of be the same thing. So it's where, looking at the Facebook ad, the ad guide and the link in the previous slide, it would be a great place to start if you really want to learn more about it. But I would say, if you're just going to start based off of this, start with engagement. It's really easy, simple, and you can promote your page and start building some engagement and following. The other very simple way to do it, and this is probably the first thing that any business owner should try, is boosting a post. You wrote a blog post, or you have a great video and you post on social media. One caveat is you want to boost either your own content, or, well, you want to boost your own content. That's really all you should really be boosting. Or I might boost something, like I'm collaborating with Ryan. I might boost something of his to drive traffic to it that might benefit me in the long run. So if you're strategically boosting somebody else's content through a partnership or a relationship, that's fine. But don't randomly boost, blog xyz.com just because you like the article, because that doesn't serve you any purpose. But the easiest one is to click the boost post. After you push it live, click boost post. This screen is what pops up. And you don't even have to worry about an audience yet. Just do the people who like your page and their friends, because Facebook is throttling the reach of pages because they want you to spend money on advertising. They're a business; they need to make money. The people who follow your page, everybody doesn't see all your stuff, and so this is a way to get exposure to the people who already like you. And if they already like you, most of us are friends with people who are like us. Like, a lot of my closest friends are also entrepreneurs. So, we hang out with like-minded folks a lot of the time. And so if somebody was targeting me, there's a good possibility that I've got friends that would be beneficial to that page. And so that's why you have that amplification of adding, boosting to your followers and their friends. And it's a great, throw $5 on a video or a blog post that you created and just boost it to your following and see what reach you get, see how that works. And it's just an easy way to increase your exposure and your engagement and build that community.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing that I love about it is that for $5, you can get quite a bit of exposure. So we're looking at it from a branding point of view. And if you're a company that doesn't engage with clients on a regular basis, you're not making sales calls, you're not sending newsletters out, you're not sending emails, whatever it is, if you're not doing that on a regular basis, but your audience is on Facebook, and you do that you know, hey, people that are already following you, it's a great way to just remind people, oh yeah, oh that's right, that company. Oh, you know, I've been meaning to call Bob. You never know what's going to come out of it.
Right. So it's an easy way to just kind of dip your toes in the water, is boost a post, get in front of your audience, but also share it with your clients coming in. Tell them, hey, I'd love for you to follow me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever I'm at. Have it in your email signature. Have cross promoted on your social media platforms. But ask your current and past clients to follow you on there, because, like Ryan said, you never know when they might need you again. And if you're in front of them on a regular basis, it might trigger them to call you now when they might have just put it off indefinitely. So it can generate can't think of the word I just wanted to do, but it could generate clients coming back around and increasing your sales that way. It's just another touch point to having a relationship with your customers.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So the big question then becomes, Sarah, what do I do now?
What you do now is take a deep breath. Take it baby steps. But the tools we mentioned here, they're either free or have a trial account. So just try them out, check them out, see if you like them, see if they work for you, if they don't, and pick some tools that will work for you to stay on your calendar and your strategy. And definitely start small. If you really feel that this is going to be overwhelming, start with Facebook. You can do one post every other day. That's 15 pieces of content in an entire month. And you get a lot of variety on that: pictures, video, links, and straight up text. You can just throw out a question. So that, just start small to make sure that you've got the energy, the time, the bandwidth, and to keeping up with the schedule that you create, and then you can add to it from that. And then once you get all that done, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the button so you can keep up to date with all of the ongoing training and the weekly live videos that we're doing. And then we'd love to have you come follow us over on our Facebook page on Digital Mastermind Academy.
Yeah, definitely. And those links are down below in the comment section. The other thing you can do, if you have any questions or comments or thoughts, feedback, we'd love to hear from you in those comments below. And we promise to get back to you in a very timely manner. You know, it really, like Sarah says, it just really starts with making a plan, starting small, doing something that's simple, that is actionable, that you know you can complete every single day, and then just build on it, build on it, build on it. If you have not seen the other 2 prior episodes, because these are designed to grow on each other or build upon each other, this is week 3, so we had week 1, week 2. There's links for those shows also down below that you can check out. And next week, we're doing, I forget what we're talking about, but it's going to be, I know it's going to be social media again. We're going to nail down social media. And then after that, we're going to go into one of my favorite areas, and that's going to be video marketing.
That one's going to be so fun. Next week, we're talking about analytics and follow-up.
Ah, yes, analytics. It's a dirty word. It's a dirty word, but somebody's got to look at the numbers.
Yep.
Very powerful stuff. All right, Sarah, I think that is it then for today's show. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. You have fun at Disneyland, or no, you're going to Frank Kern land.
I'm going to Frank Kern. I'm going to have fun there.
It's like the marketer's Disneyland. I think it's going to be a great time. I'm jealous, and it's a bummer you're not allowed to take a cohort with you, because I totally would have done it.
I know. I might suggest that, to be like, let me bring in my partner with me. We share all the content anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Well, don't tell them that. With that, that is it for today's show. Thank you for watching. We will be back here next week, same time, same place, same YouTube channel. All right, everybody, take care.